Welcome back, Truth Seeker. April 23rd, 2019, the 113th day of the year. We're going to start off with a review today, and then we're going to do playoff games, and I'm not even going to look at baseball. I'm done with baseball until all the playoffs are over. Something's obviously wrong. It doesn't make any sense. Baseball started off just fine. We called the Mariners to have a special season a year in advance. Everything was looking normal. You know, the scripts were in for the first week. And ever since last Monday, when the big audience came over after doing the tinfoil hat show, nothing's been working out in baseball. In fact, it feels like whatever game I call, the opposite outcome becomes true. And again, we've been under the watchful eye for over 3 years now. So I'm really suspicious. I mean, the Texas game yesterday, that's as close to as good of a baseball riddle as you can get. So things aren't making sense in baseball. Playoffs have been fine. So I'm putting away baseball until later in the year. I'm gonna observe on my own and see if I can. I'm just gonna observe games without even saying anything. See if they turn out the way I would expect. So, but baseball's a waste of time right now. We're putting in 5 hours and getting shit results. That's not worth anybody's time or energy or anything. So there's other sports. We could be looking at football right now. We could be getting ahead of the curve on football, but I'm fed up with baseball. Yesterday, we looked at good riddles and where Vegas money was, and we made our decisions that way. Vegas paid out on every single game yesterday. So, well, all but one. So anyway, let's review. Playoffs were fine yesterday, except for Milwaukee not covering. Our assumptions on pretty much, well, Nashville covered. They didn't win. That was kind of a surprise, but like I said, that game was tight. I wouldn't be surprised if the outcome was either way. So we expected the Bucks to win, but I thought the Pistons would give more of an effort, and I turned it on right at the end to see how they got decimated. The Pistons were down 10 when I turned on the game, and then all of a sudden they were down 15. And then I can't think of the big guy for the Pistons' name. He had the rebound right in his hands. He was picking it up off the floor, but instead of picking it up, he like shoveled past it, like he fumbled it. He shoveled past it out to the Milwaukee Bucks player who was wide open for the three. I mean, come on, you're like 6 minutes left in the game. It's your season's on the line. You got to be bringing your A game. Instead of picking up the ball, he shovel passes out to the Bucks player who then knocks down a three and makes it an 18-point lead. I said to my lady right then, I said, they're not going to cover. I said, that's just it right there. That's how you can see it's scripted. I mean, the guy doesn't know how to pick up the basketball. He's paid millions of dollars to play basketball. He can't even pick it up off the court. He shovel passes it out to the Bucks player. And then you could tell the technology was on. Some of those Bucks shots that went in, some of those threes that just put the game away, you can just tell that's not natural basketball physics. Off the front rim, sucked into the other side of the rim and down the hoop. No way. That's technology right there. So anyway, Bucks win with 127, the 31st prime, Detroit 31. And they go into the next series with 22 losses. Boston equals 22. Remember, Celtics equals 26. And the Bucks probably will finish the season with 26 losses against the Celtics. So sweeps also 22. They got the sweep done on the 22nd. And with regards to the Rockets and Jazz game, I said I'd probably stay away from this game, but if I bet it, I'd bet the Jazz to cover. And I should have gone more gung-ho on this. We saw that Mike D'Antoni could get his 45th loss, and Jazz equals 45. Their star player wears the number 45. So D'Antoni did get his 45th loss, and we talked about how Utah equals 31, Houston equals 31. The series is at 3-1. Now the Rockets and Jazz can advance to the next round. Or not the Rockets and Jazz. The Rockets and the Warriors can advance to the next round on the same day, both going 4-1. Houston equals 41, Golden State 41. Oakland 41. Think about D'Antoni's record. And I should have thought about this more yesterday. Now that he's at 45 losses, 4 more losses gives him 49 losses. And what's Warriors equal? 49. So D'Antoni picking up his 49th loss against the Warriors makes a lot of sense, which means the Rockets probably do not lose another game in the series. Because the other thing we'd have to think about in Game 5 is that Houston has a Gematria of 32 as well. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think D'Antoni picks up his 49th loss against the Warriors. So No surprise the Bucks win. I was just hoping the Pistons. The strategy I put out in the longer decode was you could bet the Bucks on the money line and bet the Pistons to cover, and then hopefully win on both bets. And then that way, if the Pistons didn't cover, which was possible, we talked about how sometimes teams just don't show up, then you'd be close to netting out. But anyway, if you took that strategy, you probably just netted out. But yeah, I wish I'd thought more about the Jazz and 49 losses with the Warriors, or the Rockets and 49 losses with the next series and the Warriors before the game started. So, but notice both star players last night, 34 for the Bucks. Bucks equals 34, 45 for the Jazz. Jazz equals 45. Again, a lot of star players wear the number that corresponds with their team. So then in the NHL, the pick of the day for all the playoffs was Carolina to win their game, picking up their 65th win against the Capitals on the 65-date numerology. They cruised through that game. Somebody texted me and said that the Capitals actually tied the game at 3-3, but then the officials reviewed and took away the goal. And this person said he knew right then that the Capitals definitely weren't going to win, because there was no reason to take away that goal. I didn't see it myself, but somebody sent a text message saying that. And then Predators to cover was the bet against the Stars. They did cover. Unfortunately, they got eliminated. So there's two teams remaining with 101 connection. Again, this will be the 101st Stanley Cup. The only two remaining are the Islanders, who swept their series, and the Maple Leafs, who are going to play Game 7, I believe, today against Boston. So if the Maple Leafs don't get past today, that will suck. They have the best riddle in terms of what their playoff wins would be to win this Stanley Cup. And the other thing about them being a Canadian team and this being the 101st Stanley Cup is, again, 101 is the 26th prime. And Canada hasn't won the Stanley Cup for 26 years, not since 93. So we'll see what goes on there. If the Maple Leafs do get eliminated today, which would surprise me, I'm going to have to look at the Islanders more carefully and what riddles they got going, because they would be the only team remaining with a 101 connection. So, all right, we got 4 NBA games today and 2 NHL games. We're going to do those, and then once we're done, I'm going to put a video together with Tiger Woods and the Grand Slam, why that looks promising, and that'll be it for today. And just going forward, we'll focus on the playoffs, and there's other things maybe I'll start paying attention, see if there's anything in MLS. I know that's going on right now. Maybe that's low-hanging fruit. And just start gearing up for the NFL season, because it'll be here before we know it. And it's always nice to dominate NFL. So, but for the meantime, oh, you know what? Let's review baseball actually real quick. And again, why I'm staying off it for now. I mean, the season started off fine, but the last week plus has been a nightmare. We were leaning Mets yesterday. The Mets could get to 3-3. New York's 33. The starting pitcher for the Phillies, his name equaled 46. Phillies did lose to the Mets. I'm expecting the Mets to win this series 2 out of 3. So the Phillies record's 5-7, because Mets is 57, New York Mets 57, New York City 57. The Diamondbacks and Pirates, we didn't have much of a read on, but I was just wondering if that 13-7 thing would hit, because it's like 137, the 33rd prime, and both teams carry the 33 connection. So that didn't come through, but, you know, that wasn't a strong read. This White Sox-Orioles game, the starting pitcher, his name equaled 57. White Sox equals 57. And White Sox does also equal 66, which you mentioned, but the starting pitcher was 57 with no 66 connection. Baltimore's 58. We already saw the big, strong Baltimore 58 riddle in the opening weeks. So I was thinking, you know, the Orioles could win 2 in a row, get to 3-9, White Sox 39, and that would have made the White Sox 5-8. Baltimore 58. All the money in Vegas was on the White Sox for the most part. So, you know, Vegas paid out on this, and the better riddle was here with the Orioles. So, you know, The Royals and Tampa Bay game, we first noted that it was the 22nd. Tampa Bay equals 79. The 22nd prime, the Royals pitcher could become 2-2, which he did. And Kansas City Royals equals 86. The Rays won this game. The thing for the Royals was they could have become 3-8 on a date with 38 numerology. So this one could have gone either way. So Royals has the Gematria of 36. The starting pitcher for the Royals has the Gematria of 36. You get a 3-6 score. Brewers Cardinals, there was some overlap with 74, but the pitcher's name was also 83. I warned the caller about that yesterday. I said, we've seen it where it just takes one riddle. So Cardinals went to 8-3 facing the pitcher with the 83 and 74 name Gematria. We talked about the Twins yesterday. Their riddle was possibly to win 2 straight and to get to 9-3. Minneapolis, Minnesota equals 93. It's on the 93rd meridian. If they won 2 in a row, they'd be 14-7. Houston Astros, 147. But then we saw that Minnesota, Minnesota's 70 and Astros is 70. So I was like, well, wait a minute, 70. Maybe they'll go 7-0 then, because Minnesota Twins was 60. They came in 6-0. So I can't say that I'm shocked about the outcome of this game. If the Twins win today, that riddle will hit with the 14-7 and the 9-3. But I don't have any confidence in it. We keep seeing things go this way, and then it comes up a game short. So just baseball. I'm just gonna quietly observe and see if I can figure out what they're locking into, because right now it just seems like nothing is consistent. Nationals and Rockies. Rockies could have stayed at 9 wins. Rockies could have stayed at 9 wins in their 23rd game. They didn't. If they would have lost 2 in a row, they could have got to 3-8, like 38, the big Colorado number. That didn't happen. Yankees had a decent riddle to win. They did keep the Angels at 9 wins in their 23rd game. Again, 23 the 9th prime. Notice they won 4-3, becoming 4-3 away in the 14th inning, 43 the 14th prime. Gave the Angels their 14th loss of the season. And this Rangers Athletics game, I thought it was the best riddle of the day. The pitcher's name tomorrow equals 79. We've seen a lot of pitchers come in with the record. The athletics manager could have got his 613th career loss on the 112th day of the year, 613, the 112th prime. So prime numbers usually hit, especially manager riddles like that when they line up. And we've just seen how many games the pitchers come in and his team has the record that syncs up with his name Gematria, plus 7 and 9 is the reflection of 97, Athletics 97, Oakland Athletics 97. So anyway, there's just way too much not coming through in baseball. Plus, all the money in Vegas was on the Athletics. I mean, we saw that yesterday. So, I mean, the Vegas strategy didn't work. The Gematria strategies aren't working. There's no consistency in the outcomes. A pitcher's name equals this. Maybe one game it hits, 2 it doesn't. So it's just it's not worth the time right now. If you guys got your futures in for the Mariners before the season began, congrats. I think we had the right read there, but for the time being, it's just not worth putting any more energy into baseball. Okay, Magic and Raptors playoff game today. So the Raptors can close it out. The only thing that's interesting about this series at this point is that if it went to Game 7, if the Magic rallied, the last 2 games they haven't even tried to play basketball. Who knows if they're going to show up and try to play? You just never know. But if it did go to Game 7, Game 7's on the 117th day of the year, and Toronto's 117. For the season, the Raptors are 33-10 at home. They split. They lost the first game to Orlando, and they've won 3 straight. So this will be the 44th game at home today. On the season, they're 61-25, and Orlando is 43 and 43 right now. And today's date numerology, definitely need that. 66, 39, 21, 46. Because it's the 23rd, if we see an 83, 83 is the 23rd prime. So if we see any 83s today, it's the 113th day of the year, which is the 30th prime. But let's look at the M cubed here. Toronto Raptors. Or hold on. All right. So in the playoffs, the Magic are 58 and 69, and Toronto is 35 and 51. So neither of those go with today's date. So we don't have a date connection there with the overall playoff records. I'll just pull up another window here. Toronto Raptors, series records, Orlando Magic. So they're 50 and 44 against the Magic. Neither of those numbers are going to go with the date. At home, they're 27 and 20. Neither of those numbers go with the date. And in the playoffs, 4 and 5. If they, that's tough. In the most pure cipher, Raptors is 46. But again, we always have to look at our exceptions too, because they matter. Just like you wouldn't see certain riddles if you didn't look at the exceptions. But Raptors is also 55. So Toronto's a big favorite here. We'll look at who they play next because that could be the final clue in the record for the Raptors. Let's see. 2019 NBA playoff bracket. There we go. Okay, so the Raptors will play the 76ers. I fully expect the Nets to get closed out today. We talked about that last week. We'll get to that game. So I'm thinking the 76ers advance today. So the Raptors play the 76ers. So what would make sense with their record? Philadelphia. 76ers. Let's look at the coaches real quick. His next wins is 239th. That's the 52nd prime. His next losses is 255th. With Orlando, he's at 42 win. Okay. Oh, wait. But that we need the playoffs too. He's 4-11 in the playoffs. If he won today, he would be 5-11. That's that prime number relationship. 11, the 5th prime. 1-3. You see the Toronto Raptors coach. Nick Nurse. 31. $60, 62. They got 2 more losses. I'm just wondering if Orlando could rally back because they've been like a wild card all team all year. You just don't know what Orlando team's going to show up on a night. I'm just wondering if they could make it go to Game 7. That would help out Philadelphia in the series because they'd be rested and Toronto would be tired. I'm looking to see if there's a riddle in the numbers with Philadelphia and what might make sense in the next series. But yeah, I'm not coming up with anything that's super clear. What's up?
What's going on, man? I'm trying to see the MQ thing like you're doing. The Magic got 58 playoff wins. Am I correct? Am I reading that right?
I think that's right. Orlando Magic is 58. Yeah.
Whoa. So they got 58 playoff wins, Zach? I'm trying to make sure.
Yeah, they're 58 and 69 in the playoffs.
Okay. How did you find that on MQ? Because I'm going through my phone.
Okay, for everybody trying to do this, so this is what you do. So you go just from this, like pretend you just loaded up MQ. So we'll just go to the beginning. You're at the MQ website. So then what you do is you click NBA. You just click that NBA button. And then where it says series records, you click series records. And then that's going to show you every team's all-time win and loss records. And then on the far right side, it'll give you the playoffs.
Okay, cool. Now, here's the thing. See, man, I don't know, man. Because NBA TV equals 59. Do the Magic get a 59th playoff win today?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, there's a reason to believe this could go to Game 7 because Toronto's 117, Game 7 scheduled for the 117th day of the year. So
yeah, and then
Scotiabank Arena is 271. Scotiabank Arena is 271, the 58th prime. Orlando's at 58 wins, and Orlando Magic's 58. So.
Probably where it ends, man. Oh, and then off subject, man, I agree with you on that baseball, man. Like some of them riddles that you was dead on about, like, come on, man, them shit's not hidden. Like the Denver 38, like I agree with you, man. It's like we wasted too much time. So you made a good call on that. So yeah, that was a good decision until we figure it out, like you said.
Yeah, there's just no point. I mean, we're spending hours and we're doing horrible. I mean, what's the point of that? So.
Yeah, we could figure out the golf riddles and shit like that and win big money on a, you know what I mean?
Well, and we could have been talking about like the fight that there was this weekend with the boxer nicknamed Bud on 420. I mean, that was an easy call, so we should have been on that. But
yeah, yeah, Terrence Crawford, like, you know what I mean, Zach, like winning in the 6th round and 6 equals 52, and it was all kind of shit. Man, I was like, man, this shit's crazy.
But yeah, I mean, baseball started off fine, but for over a week now, it's just been god awful. So I don't even want to mess with it right now.
Yeah, no, it's all good, man. You're right, man. So, yeah, so I'm gonna look at this Magic game, which I'm just thinking, I don't know.
Well, there's some better picks tonight for sure. This one's got a big spread. The 76ers, I'll be shocked if they don't win tonight. We're about to cover why that is. And there's some other good playoff games tonight too. So we can come back to this game. This might be one of the tougher ones of the night, the Magic Raptors game. But I would say that if the Magic win tonight, I think they are going to take this to Game 7. So I'll think about it some more.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. Later. NBA TV is 59 if the Magic got their 59th playoff win tonight. But this Nets 76ers game looks like an easy call, just like the Carolina game yesterday. So the reason why is right here. Let me pull it up. Well, first let's just go over what their playoff records are again. Brooklyn Nets 63 and 83. That's where they are right now. And the Philadelphia 76ers 225 and 211. But remember, this win total is in discrepancy because another site has a different stat. So anyway, that's not where the riddle is. The riddle's right here. All right, I didn't want to go off that one. We talked about this before they played last time. Where's the Philadelphia 76ers? So Philadelphia versus Brooklyn. You see their home win record, 65 and 39 against Brooklyn. Look at today's date numerology, 66 and 39. So they can get their 66th win at home today and stay at 39 losses. And what else is awesome about this is it's Philadelphia. Philadelphia is the city that's named from Revelation, the 66th book of the Bible, which is based on the 39 books of the Old Testament. So, you know, I don't know how that doesn't come through. So we talked about that last week. It looks like this is where the Nets season will end. They'll finish their season with 43 wins. New Jersey's 43, the old team, and 44 losses in their 87th game. And I believe the 76ers affiliate team's the 87ers or something like that. So that'll give the 76ers their 55th win of the season. Raptors equals 55. Raptors 55. So the 76ers should go on to play the Raptors because that's our clue right there. Even if it goes to Game 7, then if it does go to Game 7, we should know that the 76ers will play the Raptors because they're going to be at 55 wins on the season. So that's the signal right there. And the trick tonight with the Raptors game is they can become 4-6 against the Magic or 5-5. 4-6 is more pure. If we're going to see that Philadelphia-Boston Eastern Conference Finals, the Raptors having to play more games would feed into that narrative. That was our assumption at the start of the year, that we would see the Eastern Conference Finals as 76ers and Celtics, and Western Conference Finals, we were leaning Warriors and Rockets, which obviously can't happen. But still can happen in the East. So Charles Barkley's pick in the West is the Blazers. I don't think they'll make it to the finals, but you know, Damian Lillard, the star player, he's from the Bay Area. I can see the Blazers getting past these teams here. So it could be a Bay Area battle. Steph Curry and the Oakland team versus Damian Lillard. But I do like the 76ers to close out the Nets tonight. And let me think about how many losses that would be at. They'd be at 32 losses. What's interesting about that is I wouldn't mind seeing the Raptors beat the 76ers just because they're the only team I worry about beating the Celtics. If the 76ers go into this series 55-32, which is what their record would be if they won tonight, which I assume they will, they could get their 36th loss of the season against Toronto. So we'll have to look at that series carefully. The fact that they could get their 36th loss against Toronto, that also makes some sense. So I definitely like Philadelphia to close it out tonight. The riddles are all there. Spurs and the Nuggets. Each of these teams won a game on each other's court. So the Nuggets are 56-30 right now. And 35-38 at home, or 35-8 at home, excuse me. Means the Spurs are 50-36 and 17-26 away. So unfortunately, none of those numbers go with today's date numerology. But let's again look at their playoffs. The Spurs are 221 and 179 in the playoffs. 179 is the 41st prime number. San Antonio's 41. Let me think. And Denver, 63 and 103. Remember, we saw them pick up their 63rd win on the 63 day, gave the Spurs their 36th loss. 103. All right, so I think a lot of these teams or records are going to sync up with the opponent that they face in the next round. It's likely that the winner of this series will face the Blazers. The Blazers are up 3-1. I'm just thinking if you got the let me look at this. If you got the Spurs and the Blazers to face each other, you'd have this 7-3. It is the 73rd NBA season. I don't think that's going to happen over here in the East, though. Doesn't look like the Magic are getting past the Raptors. Hold on, let me just come back and look at the Magic's record one more time. See if there's any. They would be at 46 wins if they won the series. What's up?
You think Spurs, Blazers, LaMarcus Aldridge face his old team?
LaMarcus Aldridge riddle, huh? It could be. I got to look at it more. It's just an observation. I'm just thinking about it live. It being the 73rd NBA season. So.
Okay. And I want to add to. I like the Spurs tonight, Zach. I'm not gonna steer you off your pick. Everybody that's listening, this is one of my riddles that I feel is strong because the next game is at San Antonio. ATT Center equals 56. So Denver walks back into ATT Center with 56 wins.
Okay. You're saying 56 wins.
They already got 56 wins, so they're going to stay on there. And then the next game is in San Antonio. ATT Center equals 56.
Oh, I see. You're saying the Nuggets. I got you. The Nuggets are staying on 56 for the season. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then to piggyback on what you said earlier with the 179, 41st prime, that means you said San Antonio equals 41. So then they walk in, San Antonio walk in with 179.
Right. That's possible.
And then Spurs equals 21. And
just something to think about, though, is based on your theory right now. I'm going to look at it more. I haven't decided yet, but Denver also has that connection to 50. You could make an argument that the Spurs stay on 50 wins. So
yeah.
Nuggets is 51, though. I know that we've seen some Nuggets 51 riddles this year. So the Spurs' next win would be 51. I got to look at the date numerology of the next game. So.
And then this is what I want to show you too, man. You see how this should be working, man? This is what I be talking about. Like like NBA TV, right? it equals 59 to 17 prime. Look, they got 17 wins.
The Spurs have 17 away wins.
See how it goes back? See how they lining this shit up with the networks, with the prime numbers too.
Sure. Yeah.
And then so you can see where I'm coming from when I be doing this. So like Pepsi Center, look, Pepsi Center equals 59 if I'm not mistaken. Yep, Pepsi Center equals 59. So you see, like tonight, NBA TV equals 59, Pepsi Center equals 59. The team could stay on 17 wins or losses. You see?
The 17 would go against the Spurs. They would stay on 17 away wins.
Yeah, but I like the because obviously in the arenas matter. Because ATT Center equals 56, so that's what I like. But you know.
Okay, I'm gonna look at the date numerology. I'm gonna look at the date numerology. The date numerology has been really consistent for the playoffs, so I'm gonna see what the date numerology is of the next game and see if somebody's win or loss would sync up with that next game. So.
Right, and I ain't trying to throw us off because the Thunder is a good team, but sometimes like they just I noticed too, they throw dumbass shit in our face. Like, come on, man, like LaMarcus Aldridge Riddle going to play his whole team, like that makes a lot of sense. So,
yeah, yeah,
I could be wrong though, but all right, man, I'll let you get back to work.
All right, thanks. See you. Okay. So right now, Denver at home against the Spurs, they're 54 and 52. 54 and 52 at home. And all time, they're 8 and 22 against the Spurs in the playoffs. They've struggled against the Spurs. Something tells me we're going to end up seeing this series be at 23 and 9. 23, the ninth prime number. I wonder if that 23rd win could be picked up today by the Spurs on the 23rd day of the month. So I'm going to have to look here at the next scheduled game, because this is definitely going one more game. It's tied 2-2. I think it's the tightest series in all the playoffs right now. So the next game's on the 25th. This will be a date, though, with 23 numerology. This date has 23 numerology right here. 4 plus 2 plus 5 plus 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 9. So if you're trying to learn to do this in your head, just remember 2019, when you added digit for digit, it's 12. It's going to be 12 all year. So 2019 is worth 12. 2 plus 1 plus 9. And then you just got to add 4 plus 2 plus 5. So 4 plus 2 plus 5 is 11. 11 plus 12 is 23. So you have a 23 date, and we just saw that in this playoff series, where is it? Denver's next loss against the Spurs is number 23. Now, the trick becomes, because, you could also make an argument. You could say, well, they could pick up the 23rd loss today on the 23rd and then stay at 23 losses on the 23 date. Or they could prevail today and pick up that 23rd loss on the 23 date. So far, this is looking tight. Let's see if we can get a clue. We'll look at the coaches, too. The Nuggets' next away loss would also be their 23rd away loss. So there's another 23. The Nuggets could pick up their 23rd away loss in this game as well, and their 23rd playoff loss against the Spurs. That would make the series 3-3. That seems destined, because Nuggets and Spurs both equal 33. And if this goes to game 7, remember, Colorado equals 43. We documented a lot of riddles with 43 in the Nuggets in this regular season. So this is looking like game 7's coming. And now that I'm looking at the next game and seeing the 23 date and how the 23rd away loss plus the 23rd playoff loss against the Spurs can be picked up, I'm starting to think the Nuggets have the edge tonight. Starting to think the Nuggets got the edge here. Because that's 2 23s that can be picked up. And then that would do the 9-23 thing. 23, the ninth prime. So. Okay. Let me think about the other date numerology for this game. So we know we're adding plus 12 here. The other method is 4 plus 25, which is 29 plus 12 is 41. So that's your life lesson number 41. San Antonio's 41. I don't think there's going to be any 41s on the board, but San Antonio equals 41. So does AT&T. AT&T, their, mascot. And he said AT&T Center is 56. So the Nuggets are at 56 wins right now on the season. They did get their 56th win in the AT&T Center, so that did happen. That was the last game where we had a good, clear read. All right. And well, let me think. Is there any other important date numerology here? 29, 48, 68. So it's a date with 68 numerology. Denver equals 68. Denver 68. Teams don't always win or lose when the date syncs up with them. Could be a sign it would go back to Denver. Let's look at Game 7, Day 2. So the 117th day of the year, possible Game 7s. I don't think the Nets 76ers is going to be there. All right. So this date would be 25 date numerology, 31, 43 date numerology. Colorado's 43, 43, and 70. So 25, 43, 70. Let's come back and look at this, see if that went with anything. Spurs, Nuggets. No. So away. $25, 43, 70. So it doesn't look like, because that last game's in Denver, so it's not going to be there. Oh, for another 23 in that next away game? Look at that. They could also stay at 23 away wins in that next game on the 23 day. They could pick up their 23rd loss all time in the playoffs, pick up their 23rd loss of the season, and stay at 23 away wins. So that riddle would be all busted if San Antonio won tonight, I think. Yeah, that would be pretty busted if San Antonio won tonight. So based on that, I got to assume Denver wins tonight. And then San Antonio wins Game 6. And then it comes back to Game 7. And it doesn't look like we're going to get a great date numerology read for Game 7. But it is a 43-day. Colorado's 43. Let me think about this one more time. The Nuggets would be at 58 wins if they won the series and 31 losses. The Spurs won the series, they'd be at 52, 37. If the Spurs won the series, they'd be at 37 losses. That's a big Portland number. 52 is one short of 53. Portland and Trailblazers is 53. But yeah, again, just looking at how the next date's the 23 numerology, and the Nuggets can get that 23rd away loss, stay at 23 away wins, and pick up their 23rd loss in the playoffs. I got to assume they're going to win tonight. Spurs make it 3-3 in Game 6. The only thing I could say again is the riddle wouldn't be as good. The riddle wouldn't be as good if Denver won tonight. It is. I mean, they could pick up their 23rd loss on the 23rd and stay at 23 on the 23 date, but then that would blow up the away records because they'd end up getting their 24th away win, and they would get their 24th away win of the season as well on the 23 date. So I don't see that. I don't see that. So I got to say that tonight, I think the Nuggets get it done. And if I bet the game, I'd stay away from the spread. I hate spreads. So I would bet at money line for the Nuggets. So 76ers to close out. And I'd do that money line too. Nuggets as well. All right, Thunder Blazers. So Blazers are at 56 wins, 30 losses. It's not going to go with our date. Thunder at 50 wins, 36 losses. If they lose tonight, they pick up their 37th loss in Portland. Portland's 37. Let me think about who the winner plays again. You know, if the damn, that's tough, man. If the Blazers won tonight and they won it 4-1, San Antonio's 41, right? That could be pointing to who they play next in the series. If the Blazers won at 4-2, Spurs is 42. So 4-1 or 4-2 could point to facing the Spurs. San Antonio 41, Spurs 42. But getting that 37th loss in Portland, it does make a lot of sense. Make sure there's a Portland. Portland just won on the 37 date numerology. The last game they played, going up 3-1. 3 of these Western Conference series doing the 3-1 thing. Oakland 31, Lillard from. All right, hold on. Before I move on to this game, though, let me just make sure I'm checking all the coaches. Okay. I'm not going to overthink it with the Nets 76ers game. But, all right. Popovich is the Spurs coach. Let me see. What's his record? Greg Popovich. $281. 281's the 60th prime. 170 losses. All right. All right, who's the Magic coach? Steve Clifford. Steve Clifford. Or whoops, why did I do that? I meant the Nuggets coach. Nuggets coach. Michael Malone. Malone. 2-2. So if he wins tonight, he's 3-2. Denver's 32. Could become 3-2. Well, this is his first playoff series ever. And then Spurs Nuggets with the 33 overlap. Just name equal anyway. Malone. Popovich. What did we just see with Popovich in 281? I just said something about Popovich. .281 the 60th prime. He's 281 playoff games. Okay, it's not a big deal. But look at that. There's something right in front of my face, you guys. Popovich can get his 113th playoff loss today on the 113th day of the year. And that's not just any arbitrary number. That's the National Basketball Association. The National Basketball Association 113. So Popovich can get the 113th loss today on the 113th day of the year. And this fits into what we were already thinking. It makes more sense for the Nuggets to win today and then the Spurs to win in Game 6 in San Antonio. So, yeah, I'm liking the Nuggets. I'm liking the Nuggets here. 76ers and Nuggets are looking good. Here, just to be thorough, I'm just going to look at the Nets and 76ers, coach. I really don't see this riddle going sideways, but just to be thorough. Hey, what's up, man? Uh-oh. Oh, hey, call me back. It's like a windstorm. Are you there? Hello? Shoot. Yeah, call me back. There's something crazy going on with the phone. Call me back. Yeah, something's wrong. Call me back. That is weird. He's called me so many times. That's never happened before. Oh, I see. He texted me. Okay, weird. Okay, Kenny Atkinson. He's 1-3 in the playoffs. He could be 1-4. Oh, by the way, I saw a stat on ESPN last night. Detroit has now lost 14 straight playoff games. That's the Detroit Pistons. They've lost 14 straight. So if the Pistons are in the playoffs next year, if you want to write this note somewhere, the Pistons probably win game 1 of their next playoff matchup. They've lost 14 straight playoff games. I saw that last night on ESPN. But okay, 1-4 doesn't really tell me anything. If you want, he'd be 2-3. Wait, hold on. What is he right now? Let me look at that one more time. One and 3. Nets is 13. If you want, he'd be 2-3. Nets is 23. I don't think so. Let's see. Brett Brown. Eight and 6. 9 and 6. Okay. So I don't think there's any great clue there with those coaches. I guess Brett Brown could get his 9th playoff win on the 23rd, 23 the 9th prime. That's the 76ers coach. Caller?
Hey, Zach. How you doing?
Doing all right, man.
So I just wanted to call in and let you know about the hockey game last night that you were telling us about, the Hurricanes.
Right.
So I was watching that game, and one thing I picked up was the guy who was telecasting the game. He kept saying throughout the first and the second period that no team in this series has ever come back from being down the initial goal. And that was one thing that made me feel really, really good about the Hurricanes coming back, the fact that he kept saying that. So there could be money being made from people who are watching these live games and could catch these codes that these guys are giving away.
Sure. I agree.
You know, So I just wanted to let the community know that too. You know, you guys can pick up some things. Not saying it's 100%, but you know, there are some things there. They do like to throw it in our face.
They absolutely do. And when you know the numbers, and we talked about this for years. Like, for example, let's say the date numerology was 19. I'm just making this up, but they might put up a stat on the screen. And they might say, this team is 1-8 in this situation all time. Well, you can just grin and go, okay. Well, if they're 1-8 in this situation and the date numerology is 19, what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, it's going to finish off. They're going to get the loss.
1-9, exactly. And that kind of stuff happens all the time when you're watching live. So when you have this knowledge and you know the date numerology and you're betting live and following the stats they're putting up on the screen, a lot of times they do give it away at halftime, in the first quarter, whatever. So,
yeah,
yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
So, yeah, I just wanted to call and let you know that. And thank you for the Hurricanes yesterday. So
yeah, you're
keep
welcome,
doing
man.
your job.
All right.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Well, I don't feel like I did a good job yesterday, but at least we got the Hurricanes right. Okay. Let's see. So I am liking 76ers and Nuggets. The riddles are good there. Thunder and Blazers. This has been a funky series. The two things that have made the most sense was Oklahoma City winning their one game on the anniversary of the Oklahoma City bombing, April 19th. And that's the 109th day of the year. The Blazers became 10-9 against the Thunder by losing that day in the playoffs. And the Blazers won the last game on the 37 date numerology. Portland 37. Now the Thunder can get that 37th loss in Portland. And to me, it makes a lot of sense for the Thunder to get the 37th loss in Portland. The only question is, does it happen today or does it happen in Game 7? So I just want to, and again, Portland equals 37. That's why I'm saying that 37th loss of the season in Portland makes sense there. The Blazers are going to play the Spurs or the Nuggets next. If the Blazers win today, I think that's a really good sign for San Antonio to win the series because San Antonio's 41. Blazers win the series 4-1. I think that points to San Antonio prevailing over the Nuggets. Again, that Game 7's tough because we don't have a date numerology that we're going to be able to go off of, assuming we're right about it going to Game 7. Okay, we gotta look some more here at the coaches, and let me get back in gear. All right, hold on. Do this again. Blazers coach Terry Stotts. He's 14-25 in the playoffs, or 15-29 for his career. So my concern with that right there, just seeing that stat, here's what's tricky about that. Terry Stotts could get his 30th playoff loss all time today. Today's the 113th day of the year. The National Basketball Association 113, 113, the 30th prime. So, So now the other side of this equation is he could get his 16th win. And Portland and Trailblazers are both 53, the 16th prime. So they won the season with 53. All right, hold on. We're going to have to look at some more things. Here. Billy Donovan. He's 15-18. He could get his 16th career win in Portland today as well. So that riddle could go either way for the coaches. That 30th loss, he got a $33,000 check. You guys see that in the top corner. Okay. This one's tough. Something I could say about the Thunder going down 1-4 is kind of like 14. Blazers, without the trail part, Blazers is 43, the 14th prime. It's another thing that plays with their riddles. Okay. Let me, again, that next game. The next game is on the date with the 23, 41, 68 date numerology. Caller?
Are you on live, Zach?
I am.
Bummer. I wanted to just talk to you for a minute, but I'll catch you later, man. Sorry about that.
No problem. Thanks. Okay. $23, 41, 68. Gotta look at this again. Trailblazers. Oklahoma City Thunder. The Oklahoma City Thunder's next loss is their 163rd. That's the 38th prime. Oregon's 38. Okay. Let's see here. Portland Trailblazers, series records. Oklahoma City Thunder. All right, 41 and 86. Huh. There's no strong clues. Their next loss to Oklahoma City is 44. Portland's 44. Rip City's 44. But there's nothing here that's syncing up with today's date numerology or the next game. Let me see. I'm just noticing that I just see that if the Blazers won, they'd be 12 and 9. You know, Portland does equal 37, the 12th prime. So I am thinking Portland's definitely going to win the series. They very well could close it out tonight. If not, I think this will end up going to game 7. Because that 12th win just makes too much sense in Portland. And also just the fact that the Thunder season can conclude with 37 losses, Portland 37. So, man. All right, let me think about this one time. The Blazers are at 56 and 30. Well, if the Blazers didn't lose today, remember how we saw that their coach could get his 30th loss? If the Blazers didn't lose today, they'd stay at 30 losses on the season, again on the 113th day of the year, the 30th prime. So, man, that's tough. Thunder are 22 and 21 away right now. They'd be 22 and 22 if they lost. 50 and 37. And some things like this. Moda Center is 44 like Portland and Rip City. All right, let me think about that too for a second. Blazers. Yeah, we can't say for sure who they're going to play next in that next round. But ooh, that's tough. If they stayed at 30 losses, remember Nuggets is 30 in the most pure cipher. Ugh. Today has the 66 date numerology. We've talked about the strong relationship with 50 and 66 before in records too. If the Nuggets lost today, they would stay at 50 wins on the season. When you write out 50 at 66, we've talked about this before. It's a little abstract, but it is something that we see. So if the Thunder went down today, they'd be done at 50 wins on the season. Make sure. There's some 129 connection I don't know about. Again. 88. I guess I can look real quick here at the Nuggets and the Spurs too to see what their records are against them. 103 and 87, 72 and 24, 63, 5 and 5 in the playoffs. $90 and 100, 60 and 35. Huh. Their home and away records are a perfect match with the Spurs. 6 and 14. Whew. "35th home win." Let me see how it lines up with Lillard. July 15th. Birthday's 15/7, like 157, the 37th prime. Let's see. "282 days." Just 283rd day of his age. Is that a prime number? 283 is the 61st prime. The 61st prime. Could that be? Damian Lillard, 88. His name's 241, the 53rd prime, like Portland and Trailblazers. Oklahoma City, 61. Could close out Oklahoma City today. It's 162 days after Westbrook's birthday, or it's his 163rd day of his age, which is tough because remember how we just saw that in the Thunder's playoff stats? Oklahoma City Thunder. They could become 162 and 162, or they could get their 163rd loss. It's 162 days after his birthday or his 163rd day of his age. It's just amazing to me how these riddles, you look at them so often and they're this tight. It's like, how is this even possible? Ooh. I'm going to have to come back to this one. The two basketball games that I like today are the Nuggets and the 76ers. Not sure about either of these games here, Magic and Thunder. I'm just not sure. So let me see if caller
Hey, Zach, could you do golf today by chance?
to do the golf tournament.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are asking for it in the chat.
Well, I mean, the thing about a golf tournament is you have to decode about what, 50 people?
Yeah, I just think a lot of people are wondering about it.
Yeah, I'd rather not, man. Golf, you got to have a really good riddle to figure it out. Like the Tiger thing was a really good riddle. I mean, you saw the guy that did all that work on Fleetwood over the weekend, and it wasn't that. It ended up being a guy named Pan, and Pan has to do with the spring and stuff. So, you know, the Tiger Grand Slam riddle we can focus on, but I don't like to decode NASCAR and golf just because it's too big of a field. There's just too many things that are going to line up. So.
I got you. All right.
All right.
Man. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, welcome. All right. I just want to see what they got here. I don't want to read the Blazers Edge. That's the wrong thing. Where's like a major sports reporting thing? Let's see. They put out information. I just want to see if there's any stats they're putting up here that gives it away. Whenever you read these CBS things and just like how great they make their picks sound, and then you pay attention to the outcomes, you just see that it's just like complete BS. I would laugh at these things all NFL season. The model, which is crushing its picks, I guarantee you pay attention, it's not. This is how they throw off bettors right here. But I just want to see if there's any key numbers. Hello?
Oh, I was trying to call Zach. I must have dialed the wrong number.
This is me.
Oh, hey, listen, are you going to have time to do the Derby next week? I don't know if you do horses or not. I just had that quick question.
Well, we call both Triple Crowns before they happen. So, yeah, we do horses. We can look at that. Are you on Patreon?
Right,
we do. I'm decoding sports right now on Patreon. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right, man.
All right. Thanks. Yeah, that's another thing we can look at. That's a better investment in time than golf. Okay. So it's the 42nd. Okay. They haven't been to the playoffs since 2016. Or they haven't won the playoffs since 2016. Remember, Portland's 53, Trailblazers is 53, the 16th prime. We saw that the Blazers coach can get his 16th win, or that was also true for the Thunder coach. on its side too, as teams that lead a series 3-1 play game 5 at home are 162-3 all time. That's a very, is that right? That seems crazy. Huh. Okay, so we saw that this game is on Russell Westbrook's 163rd day of his age, and the Thunder can get their 163rd playoff loss all time. Again, 163 is the 38th prime, Oregon's 38. That is a crazy stat. I would not have guessed that. Huh. So there's isn't there multiple of those situations tonight? So you have 3 of those situations tonight. Raptors, 76ers, and Blazers. You know what? With regards to the Blazers and the 76ers, they have a riddle together. They were the only year the Blazers ever won a championship was the 76-77 season. And remember, this season began on the day leaving 76 days left in the year. If all 3 of those teams won tonight, the stat would be 165-3. How many days was it from Lillard's birthday again? July 15th. What did we say was his birthday? July 15th. Oh, yeah, it was 283 days, the 61st prime, in Oklahoma City, 61. Also, 83 days to his upcoming birthday, the 23rd prime. And I forget, is Blazers 83? Blazers is 83. So, Blazers is also 61. So Oklahoma City and Blazers both 61. Blazers also 38. Oregon 38. Okay. So the alignment's nice with Lillard. And this stat is that's a mind-blowing stat. I still can't believe this stat. All right. I'd rank this as my 3rd favorite game tonight. But again, I like the 76ers to close it out. I like the Nuggets to win. I think the riddles are good there. The Trailblazers to close out is looking more likely now that I really appreciate the alignment with Lillard and Westbrook. But remember, the one thing with Westbrook is it's also 162 days after his birthday, and they could even their playoff record as a franchise at 162 and 162. It's tricky. So, but yeah, the Lillard alignment is 83 days to the birthday, and Blazers 83, and so. Game 5 is 41. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to favor the Blazers here. So I would take the money line so you don't get beat on the spread, but I think the riddle's better with them. And if the Blazers didn't win tonight, I would assume that they're not going to win until Game 7. But if they close it out 4-1, Lillard's also from Oakland. Oakland's 41. Color?
That.
Yeah. What I'm noticing is when we do our riddles, when we can't get a clear read, then we need to go back to the logic. It just seems too easy to take Portland. We got to go Oklahoma, and I'm thinking Orlando.
because it just the way they swayed our minds with talking about Russell Westbrook and all this stuff on ESPN when he lost, it just seems like something's up. And it's way too much money on Portland tonight. If you look at the money right now, way too much money on Portland, way too much money on Toronto. So I'm really thinking OKC. We need to find this riddle off for OKC tonight. It's just way too much money on Portland, and the minds of the masses is on Portland tonight. But way too much. Like I'm thinking OKC. I'm thinking OKC.
Okay, well, yesterday I looked at the money thing again, and I mean, every game that the money was on, Vegas paid out on yesterday. So that, I mean, that logic didn't work at all yesterday. And I looked at it once before in the past, and I decided it didn't matter either. I do see that there's a lot of money on this game. Let me check this out. Yeah, you're right. It's 96% to 4%. This is more lopsided than anything.
It has. I'm telling you, it has to be OKC. This thing is going back to OKC. There's no way they're not going to let. We can't forget that they make their money off of these playoff games. There's no way they're just going to make one game in OKC, make some money off of one game in OKC. No. Some money has to go back to that stadium. It'd be a lot of money if it goes back to OKC. Way too much. Just a thought.
Well, yeah, it's a good point. It's a good thought.
All right, thanks, Zach.
All right, welcome. Well, he is right. All the money is on Portland. But, again, we used that to our thinking yesterday, and it didn't help at all. So there wasn't a game that was that lopsided, though. That game has more money than any games we saw yesterday, and that's more lopsided than anything we saw. All right, so 76ers and Nuggets, I think, the riddles are good. This Magic Raptors game's got me. Again, Game 7 is on the 117th day of the year. Toronto's 117. If the Raptors struggled to close out this series, again, I just see how that would factor into the next round and the 76ers team being rested and possibly being able to prevail over Toronto. But we'll look at that when it gets here. All right, let's look at the NHL playoffs. So we got two good riddles, I feel like, in the NBA. Don't want to get greedy, but again, the only thing we really saw that was going for the Thunder is that it's 162 days after Westbrook's birthday, and they could even their playoff record at 162. Yeah.
Hey Zach, about Kyrie Irving. Have you heard that he's 16-0 in the first round?
16-0 in the first round. So I did not know that. That's an interesting stat.
Yeah, and yesterday, for the Mets, he ended a 14-game losing streak at City Park or City Field or Sheffield.
Another 14. Nice.
Yeah, but yeah, I just wanted to let you know about that. I'm still watching other stuff. I got some stuff recorded, but yeah, it's just more proof every day. Even if you're not calling it baseball, it's still scripted, man. You can still see it.
Of course it is. I mean,
you can see the players missing like open catches, the guys hitting ground balls. You seen, dude? Oh my God.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's still scripted.
It's
even
crazy.
the games that aren't having the outcomes that we expect, you see it in the score. You're like, well, there's the tribute in the score. And I mean,
yeah,
it's just like,
or there's some hidden stat that they say in game that we never even knew of. Like, oh, this player is this and this against, and then he hits a home run, and then it matches up with the team, and it's still there.
It's still scripted. It's just the outcomes aren't based on the riddles that we've traditionally looked at for the last week plus. And it doesn't mean it won't get back on track. It's just like how. So then, what this is reminding me of is after the Super Bowl was called correctly, which we had right all year. As soon as the Super Bowl was over, all of a sudden our NBA decoding work didn't work for like a month straight. We couldn't call any NBA games because all of a sudden the patterns weren't following. And it's just like the same thing. It's like Tiger Woods wins the Masters, Virginia wins the college basketball championship. I have the a bunch of new people come here after doing the podcast with tinfoil hat, and now all of a sudden the baseball decodes don't work. So I don't know if we're really being fucked with or not. I mean, it's 3 years ago that USA Today wrote the article about me. So, I mean, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they're pulling the rug out from under us on some of these games. But
yeah, I mean, they can. People got to understand they really don't care about money. they own all of it. So they can pay you out $1 million. They can pay everybody in this world $1 million, and they'll still be rich. They'll still have more money than everybody put together.
And what I'm saying is they really don't want people to appreciate this work and take it seriously. So there's a whole new audience here, and for the last week, it's like been a shaming ritual with baseball.
This practice is energy. You know, it's them hiding stuff behind words, and it's energy. That's when you look up all the Kabbalah books. It says it's energy.
And right,
and when you write out energy, it matches with
Gematria, English,
and
right.
You know what I'm saying? So you never know. Sometimes it could be like, you know, they didn't complete the ritual they were supposed to. They lose instead of getting it. And, you know, and I still think it's that way. I don't think they're messing with this stuff. Is pre-written, man. It's probably everything's probably written out.
Sure.
These people are smart. These people are.
Yeah, I hear you, man. All right, appreciate the call, dude. All right, thanks. All right, Atlanta, I saw you tried to call in while he was on. You can call back. Anyway, let's look at the NHL. I think we'll be able to find something here in the NHL. Boston, a big favorite tonight. Maple Leafs with that 101 connection. One of the 101 teams eliminated from the playoffs. So it was pointed out yesterday that the Sharks could get their 113th playoff win today on the 113th day of the year. So we're definitely going to look at that. Go to Atlanta. What's up, caller?
Yeah, what's going on? Yeah, so from yesterday, I know you had said like most of the games that the money was on that they still came through, but it was a lot of games that Vegas racked up off yesterday. So I didn't understand your logic when you said that.
Well, I mean, the games that we picked on baseball were all games that the money was the other way. Except for the Yankees. Except for the Yankees. The money was on the Yankees, and we thought the Yankees would win. So.
Right, and I know the Texas game you picked. I understand that one, but yeah, I know they
Baltimore
cleaned up.
Baltimore was another one.
The Baltimore, yeah, but that was like you said, that was like more of the 2/3 of the money, and like forced the Mets when the Phillies when we see 90%. And you had all that money on Kansas City. The reason why I said Tampa Bay should be good, it was a lot of money coming on Kansas City. So it was just, I mean, when you look at it, it wasn't like 50-50, but those games, like Houston, like the most money, it was Houston and Texas, but Houston outweighed all of them. I think it ended like at 120,000, and they end up losing that game. So, and then it's just like the Milwaukee game. They had all the money on Milwaukee, and they covered, but look what they did on Houston. It was like 10,000 more on Houston and Utah. So it went like 1-1, but they still clean up, if you understand what I'm saying. Like yesterday, they didn't pay Texas, but they paid the Twins. You see what I'm saying? But they took away from Houston. That was a bigger game. You see what I'm saying? So they gave Oakland, and then you got to keep in mind, too, when you watch the Lions, they just beat Houston. That's the best team down there in baseball. So people thinking, okay, Texas just beat Houston. You know they wasn't going to give them the plus line like that. You got to think how Vegas would think. You feel me? With your riddle. So
Detroit should have covered against the Bucks then, because all the money was on Milwaukee too.
Yeah, but if you look at it was 2 games that night. So you got to look at how Vegas look at it. So they cleaned up on Utah, and it was a little bit more money on Houston game than Milwaukee game. And then you had to lay the 13, Zach. You see what I'm saying? So they gave it to you because you had to lay. That's a lot of points to lay. Most gamblers don't even fool that way, but it still was a lot of money on Milwaukee. But that's why they paid Milwaukee. And then the -3 line with Utah, they took all that money from Houston because that was too easy. But both of the games was like big games, and it was the same amount of money. Like you said, a lot of people bet Milwaukee, a lot of people bet Houston. But what they did, they went 1-1 and got you with the Houston game. They got all their money back. And actually, that Houston game and Utah game had a little bit more money than Milwaukee and Detroit on it, the bottom line. So even if Vegas rack up like 5,000 profit, they still won. You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying, but it just doesn't look like it's going to be a consistent way to go. So that's what I saw.
And yeah. I just feel like if you follow that money and then you follow like what's happening day by day, I feel like it will. It definitely will. I mean, it's just like you got to understand like how much money is on an actual game. You know what I mean? So you just can't, just because all the teams are everybody on like the Yankees, believe it or not, the Yankees, that game only went off the board at 50,000 last night. That was like one of the lowest betting games. But that was like everybody was on the Yankees. So they'll pay a game like that versus a game like you had everybody on Oakland. They still pay Oakland because they took the money from Houston. Everybody was on Houston that night. So out of those two big games, they paid like 1-1, and they still took the money from Philly. They still took the money from Kansas City. They still, you know what I mean? They still took a lot of teams' money.
Sure. Yeah, they're going to win every night. I know this, but
right. That's all I was saying. And I felt like, to me, so let me ask you this: out of Texas riddle and Mets riddle, why wasn't the Mets the better riddle? And plus, they was the home team. I know when you said when both teams is close, you always go with the home team. Why didn't you go with the Mets? And then I thought about it. Both pitchers named Zach today. So why when they come in with the same record? Both teams with the same pitcher name. Both teams with the same record.
To answer the question about the Mets, the Mets seemed pretty good yesterday, and so did the Rangers. I mean, I could have said that the Mets were a decent riddle too, but the Rangers, what they had is they had tomorrow's pitcher. We've seen how tomorrow's the pitcher the day after, how often their name is syncing up with the record. So I
thought you did that with the Mets too, though. I thought the Mets had the same thing when you did it with Zach Eflin. When you did the two pitches with Zach, one of the pitchers did have the same record. I think it was like a 4 and 6.
The pitcher yesterday's name equaled 46, and they became 4 and 6. The Phillies away.
Right.
But the pitcher after for the Athletics had the record for what they would have been if they would have lost, but they didn't lose. And also, you had the manager thing too. You had the manager getting the perfect loss to go with the 112th day of the year. So those things did not come through.
I remember the managers.
So that's why I liked it. Plus, all the money was on Oakland, so it also seemed like it would go because we were working with the assumption that maybe a lot of these picks are getting blown up because of where the Vegas money's at. So you had a good riddle for the Rangers. Plus, you had all the money on the Athletics, and it didn't come through. So
right, and it was the same thing as the Mets and Phillies, and I just thought maybe the Mets would have been a little bit better since they was at home. And then keeping in mind, if you think Las Vegas thing, they just took 2 out of 3 against the Astros. So now the public, if they get any money, it's gonna come on the on the Texas, even though it was an outrageous number. And then you got to think about it.
But everybody bet on the Athletics. Everybody bet on the Athletics anyway. All the money was on the Athletics. So it's not the way it was.
The little money that was on the Texas, it would have plus like 130, plus 140. And I remember about that plus 140. See, all the money on Philly was like a plus 102, plus 105 type of line. So that's why I feel like they gave it to the Mets more. Like if they could have let Texas won, they would have took a lot of money from Oakland, but they still would have had to pay those. It was some money on Texas. It wasn't just like it was 0 versus that. So the money that would have came in on Texas, they would have like kind of had to multiply 1.5. And then off the principle that Texas just won over Houston. You see what I'm saying? So that's all I was saying. Like the book, they get, like we always say, they give it to you, but it don't be that easy. You see what I'm saying? So they just gave, like the day on the baseball, the last game, Braves played, I'm from Atlanta, they played Indians. They got the same line. They beat the Indians on Sunday Night Baseball. Now they get the same line against the Reds. And all the money's on the Braves. So that tells me you go to the Reds, they don't let the same team win with the same lines. Like you just gotta think how Vegas would think. That's all I just wanted to make that point. You just gotta think like, okay, if I work for Vegas, how can we really screw the people tonight? That's what I called in too, because the last caller who just called with that Portland, man, he's right, man. Since yesterday, from 8:49 p.m., it's been money coming in on the Blazers, and Thunder ain't got no money on them. It's crazy. So with that game today, I feel like Thunder will probably win because it's just a lopsided bet.
Yeah, seeing that how much money and how it is, it's what was it, 96% to 4%? That is really lopsided.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I think Portland's almost up to 60K, and I don't even think it's about $3,000.
I think it's more than that. We just looked; it was over 90,000 placed. If 96%'s on them, then it's got to be a lot more than 60,000. It's got to be like 90,000.
Yeah, see, so yeah, that's like a game. Like I feel like it's too easy, and then the spread is only -3. See, this is one of those games too that you got to look at. If Portland do win, you got to see how many points do they win by. Do they win by a last-second shot, like 1 point, 2 point, 3 points, and kill people on the spread? Because Portland could still win tonight.
Exactly.
The spread.
That's why I said if you bet Portland, bet the money line. So,
right.
But yeah, I think wait and see based on how. I mean, I'm still. I haven't. You know, I've only looked at the Vegas money a couple times, but now both times I've done it, nothing's followed. Well, I shouldn't say nothing, but it hasn't been any type of consistent pattern. So I'll keep looking at it, but I'm not crazy about the money thing.
With the Texas pick that lost yesterday with all the money's on, keep in mind was a lot of money on Philly and it was a lot of money on Houston. Houston Astros had the most money out the whole baseball card.
Right, I did see that.
So
Yeah, I did see that.
Keep that in mind. See, they're not going to pay everything, Zach. If it was that easy, we can just look and say, oh, all the money's on this team. Let's go that way. So you got to know when to bet with the public and when to bet against the public. That's all I'm trying to enforce.
Sure. No, I get what you're saying, man. I appreciate it. All right. Thanks. All right. Let's see if we can figure out these hockey playoff games. So again, Maple Leafs, there's only 2 teams remaining with a 101 connection. The Islanders, who advanced in a sweep, and the Maple Leafs, who are on the verge of elimination tonight, Game 7 in Boston. Last year, they were eliminated in Game 7 in Boston. So this is a deja vu thing. Caller?
Hey, Zach, this is Jules.
Hi, Jules.
I just have some information I wanted to share regarding the Magic and Raptors game.
Please.
And I really think that Magic is going to lose this because their playoff record is 58 and 69 right now.
Okay.
And you mentioned Orlando Magic is 58. And with a loss, they go 58 and 70. And 587 is the 107th prime. And Raptors equals 107.
Right.
And today, the 23rd, and 23 equals 107.
Huh.
And Toronto Raptors equals 71. And then the divisors of 107 is 1 and 107, which is like 117. And Toronto is 117.
Okay. Yeah, very good work. Very good work. Again, the Raptors will be 5-5 against the Magic in the playoffs, and it's not today's line, but the last two lines for these games have been -5.5 too. So, yeah, very, very good work, excellent work.
Thank you.
All right, appreciate it, Jules. Thank you.
Have a good day.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.
And she's right. Orlando Magic is 58. They could finish their season at 58 playoff wins. Notice the Raptors began this series with 58 wins. That's why we're seeing a lot of numbers connect to who the next opponent is. All right, coming back to this NHL. Here. Maple Leafs and Bruins. So, let's see. NHL team, series records, the Boston Bruins, 309, 318 and 7. What's up, man?
Hey, I went to Game Finder, Zach, and while y'all was talking on the phone, I counted up. I did Russell Westbrook's too, but I counted up Paul George's record. He's 34 and 41 in the playoffs, 75 games. I mean, 34 and 41 all time in the playoffs.
Okay. What's that got you thinking?
Portland equals 41. Do they get to 35?
Portland equals 41?
I thought, no, Game 5 equals 41. So look, he walked in Game 5 with 41 losses. That's crazy.
So what's your thought on that though? I don't see where you're going with that one.
Well, I'm just thinking, Zach, we need to count the star players. We did that last year, and we was getting to the money with that. We stopped doing it. Like, count the all-time playoff record and see if we can find a riddle within their records. Like, if a game's tricky, so it's like, I don't know if he's gonna stay on 41, and then they get the 35th win. I'm just thinking we just need to count the star players' playoff records.
Okay, well, neither of those numbers would help me out with deciding this game, personally. I see what you're saying. He could stay on 41 losses in Game 5. But yeah, just the problem is the 30 thing on the 113th day of the year. The Blazers could stay at 30 losses, or Stotts could get his 30th loss. So
Yeah, and it's hard to go against Portland Eagle 37 too. So that's real tough to go against.
I think Portland will win this series, but I think they'll win it in Portland. So I think if Portland doesn't win today, probably Oklahoma City in the next game, and then Portland in Game 7. Portland's the team with the 43 connection. Oklahoma City doesn't have that 43 connection. But, man, things line up nice with Lillard today too. So if Blazers win today, they probably do win in a close one and don't cover the spread.
Right.
But, yeah, we saw –
I'm like everybody else. The reason why I keep calling like they are is that because everybody want to put a nice parlay together, like a 2-pick parlay.
Well, we already got 2 picks. That's what I don't get with you guys. It's like we already got 2 good riddles. Why do we have to keep looking at it and going over the games where it's tight? You guys do this every day. So we got 2 picks.
Yeah.
And here we're trying to get 2 more in the NHL. So let's look and see what's here. NHL's been good.
Yep. All right, man.
All right. Yeah. There's a part of me that I do appreciate the calls and stuff, but it's like I don't know, man. These decodes are taking too long. It shouldn't take this long to get through these games. Okay. Maple Leafs and Bruins. Okay, so again, the Bruins in the playoffs, 309, 318, and 7. Those numbers don't really go with today. Toronto Maple Leafs, 256, 280, and 4. Now, we talked about this. This is part of the reason I thought the Maple Leafs might lose the last game, because today they can get the 257th win, which is the 55th prime number, and Boston, Massachusetts is 55. So 257, the 55th prime, and the most pure cipher, Boston, Massachusetts, 55. That's part of the reason the Patriots started 5-5 in Super Bowls.
So many of them are full of this complicated, tricky language.
I don't understand why that always happens. And again, the Patriots fell to 5-5 in Minneapolis. So Toronto can get its 257th win. What's up, man?
What's up, Zach? Hey, just want to give my opinion here. I think that you're doing listen, I'm not trying to, kiss your ass or anything, but I think you're doing a great job. It's not your job. You're not going to be 100% right. This is a community and we have our own minds and brains. So I think people need to start utilizing their own and take the knowledge that you're doing. And most of the time, these games they're double decoded. Just because one riddle seems strong doesn't mean it's going to hit. Look at yesterday with the 55 in the Colorado game. We had talked about that, when we spoke here. So I think that it's not on you. And I think that we should still continue to do the work that we're doing. But people have to take responsibility for their own. And if they don't want to, then that's their own fault. It's not you. So I don't think we should stop decoding baseball, because of, we're not hitting every day, and because the riddles are there. It's not your job that's not your job. You're giving the information as as you're doing, and people should understand that.
Well, I appreciate that, but from my perspective, I'm not doing a good enough job in baseball for 8 days straight now, and it just makes me want to sit back and just observe and see if I can dial in on where the most consistent stat is. Because right now it feels like there is no consistent stat. One day it's the overlap number, the next day it's not. It's looking like when you have pitchers, because look at the Colorado game. Both pitchers who are going today both have the 38 connection. There's no chance at 3-8 today. So it's just like, and that Colorado 38 is just always a huge riddle every year in all sports. So it's just like, I don't even want to bother and put in the energy right now. Personally, you guys are welcome to keep doing decodes, but I just don't find baseball to be worth the time investment after what we've experienced for more than a week. So I will come back to it, but right now I just want to observe.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I just thought I'd point that out. I think people need to take more responsibility and use their own mind and do more working together. And I read some of these comments, and it's fucking ridiculous.
Well, there's trolls in the comments. I'm not reading the comments, but I know the trolls are always there. So that's what they're going to do. But
anyway,
yeah.
All right, Zach.
All right. Thanks, man.
Later, bro. You got it.
Uh-oh. I did just peek at the chat while he's saying that. Looks like Marty's looking for a date. All right, hold on here. So that 257 is the one number that really screams out. 257. I'll tell you what, if Toronto loses today, I'm going to look at Boston with new eyes, because we did talk about Boston when we first decoded the playoffs and how they would get their 322nd win, 3-2-2, if they won the Stanley Cup. Because I'm just realizing that Toronto would get their 281st loss. That's the Skull and Bones number, 281. It's also 3-2-2, their other number. But the 257 in Boston, that's where I'm leaning. Again, Toronto, 101st season, 101st Stanley Cup, 101 the 26th prime. Canada hasn't won it for 26 years, the Stanley Cup, that is. And we saw how Toronto's playoff record would be the most interesting if they won the Stanley Cup. They would get their 269th playoff win. That's the 57th prime number, which is our number connected to championships again and again and again. 57. When you write it out, it's 131, like championship, like Super Bowl. But in this case, Stanley also carries the Gematria 57. So that's what caught our eye about the Maple Leafs before the playoffs began. They're going to have to get by the Bruins today. Let's see what else is going on here. NHL teams, series record. No. Wrong thing. Boston Bruins, series records. Toronto Maple Leafs. So 340, 317. At home, 208, 125, 47. 126, if you go through my blog and search like championship 126, it's this number that shows up in championships. I don't know what it has to do with. So Maple Leafs could get their 126th win in Boston. 41-40 in the playoffs. So it'd be 41-41 if they lost. Fortunately, none of this goes with the date numerology. Boston Bruins Arena. Where do they play? Do they play in TD Garden? Yeah, they do. TD Garden. Okay. Okay. Let me also look at the standings here and think about this for a minute. Maple Leafs Bruins 2019 playoff series. Toronto won game 1 in Boston. I remember that. This doesn't look like what I want. Okay, there it is. Okay, so 4-1 was the score of the first game. 4-1. If Boston wins tonight, or not Boston, I mean if Toronto wins tonight, they'll be 41-41 against each other in the playoffs. So that's interesting. The game 1 could have been a clue. Could be 41-41. All right, Boston came back and won it 4-1 in game 2. So we had 2 4-1 starts. 3-2, 6-4, 2-1, 4-2. Boston. So they split on each other's ice. Toronto won back in Boston. Boston won back in Toronto. All right, so that means they're 3-3 in each other's buildings in the playoffs. Or no. Am I saying that right? Let's see. They won at Boston there. That's 1. No, they're 1-1. They're 2-1 in Boston. 2-1 in Boston. And Boston's 2-1 in Toronto. 2-1. That's tricky because Boston's 22-31. Okay. Boston. See something. All-time win-loss record. Toronto Maple Leafs. Hit the wrong thing here. Oh, that doesn't show the games. That's not what I want. Let's see who they would play next. So the winner is going to play the Columbus Blue Jackets. And that means, hold on. All right, so Boston right now is 3-3. So they're 52-27. Their next loss is their 28th. Blue Jackets is 28. Toronto is 49-31. If they didn't lose another game, they'd stay at 31 losses. Boston's 31. Shit, Boston's 32 though as well. Damn, that's tricky. 52-27. Boston Bruins, okay. Maple Leafs. So Maple Leafs. Again, going for that 257th win. That was the big thing that made me wonder if they'd lose the last game so they could set up 257, the 55th prime. So they're going to play the Columbus Blue Jackets. I just have to say something. What's up, caller?
Are you still on the Boston hockey game right now?
I'm doing it right now.
Oh, okay. So I was reading the article. I don't know if this will help you, but it says that no team has won 2 in a row over the first 6 games in this series, and they've also played 3 of the last years in the playoffs. I don't know if that's
so 2-6, like 101, the 26th prime.
Yeah.
Okay, so they could be the first team to do it. Toronto.
Yep.
All right.
I don't know if that will help you or not.
All right, appreciate that tip. Thank you.
No problem.
All right, so I was going to say something about Toronto has a really big Sri Lankan population. And the reason I know that is because the first person I ever met from Sri Lanka is when I lived in Portland, and they had just moved from Toronto. They were this Hindu family with accents. And I'm just thinking about how the Sri Lankan attack was in Colombo, which is like Columbus. Maybe that's foreshadowing a Toronto-Columbus series. So, Columbus Blue Jackets, 53. Because remember, they reported 207 dead for a lot of the day. Toronto Maple Leafs 207. Blue Jackets. These numbers. Boston's numbers are more in alignment with the Blue Jackets, though. Well, no, that's not true. Oh, well, if they lost today, they'd get their 28th loss. Blue Jackets 28 and Blue Jackets 107, the 28th prime. That would advance the Maple Leafs to play them. But then there's not a great alignment there. Toronto for the season on the road is 25-13. They could get their 26th away win to advance. Again, 101, the 26th prime. Boston at home is, they're 1-2 in the series, so they're 30. Boston's 30-11 at home. 1 home win in the playoffs and 2 losses. Again, they lost game 1 at home, won game 2, lost game 3 at home. Wait a minute. No, right here. Lost game 3 at home, right here. So if they stayed at, where's it at? They stayed at 30 home wins. Today's the 113th day of the year, 113, the 30th prime. Okay. All right. Yeah, I got to ride the Maple Leaf, just knowing that they have the more interesting playoff record. Again, especially if they win the Stanley Cup, it would make sense for the Maple Leafs to win it 26 years from the last time Canada won it. 101st season, 26 prime. I mean, isn't it crazy to think that Canada hasn't won the Stanley Cup since '93? I was 9 years old the last time Canada won the Stanley Cup. Okay. Golden Knights and Sharks. So I think this is an easier riddle here because the Sharks are going for their 113th playoff win. San Jose Sharks, 112 wins and 115 losses. So they can get their 113th win today on the 113th day of the year. That stands out right away. And NHL teams. San Jose Sharks. Where are they? Vegas. So they're 8-12 against Vegas. That means they could get their 9th win today on the 23rd day of the month, 23, the 9th prime. They can get that 9th win on the 23rd day. That'd make them 6-5 at home. It would make them 6-7 in the playoffs. That's interesting too, because hockey 67 is the 19th prime. It's 2019. So I think the Sharks have a pretty good riddle today. 113th playoff win, 113th day of the year, 9th win versus Vegas on the 23rd. Let me see if 6 and 5 goes with anything. I know San Jose's 43. They could win the series 4-3. Las Vegas, Nevada is also 43, but tonight's game's in San Jose. San Jose Sharks. Vegas. Golden Knights. Okay. So this series began in San Jose. San Jose took game 1. Vegas took game 2. Then Vegas won the first one back at home. Then game 4. So Vegas was up 3-1. San Jose took game 5 back at home. Then game 6 in Vegas. So they're trying to come back from 3-1, and they have a good riddle to do it today. Let's just let's see how this just take a look at how the money is for these games. So San Jose has about 2/3 of the money. I just want to see. It didn't really make much of a difference yesterday. Toronto, Boston. All the money's on Boston for the most part in the Toronto game, but there's not a lot. 15,000 in bets. So, well, now it's just 17,000. Yeah, people don't care about hockey. So, I mean, the Maple Leafs getting that 257th win in Boston, 257, the 55th prime. That's got some rhyme and reason. The better playoff game here is the Sharks to me. Again, 113th playoff win, 113th day of the year, 9th win against the Golden Knights on the 23rd day. I think the Sharks look good. Maple Leafs and Bruins is dicier call, but that 257th win, no better place to get it than Boston, Massachusetts. And let me just punch it in one more time. Toronto Leafs. Boston Bruins. What's up, man?
Hey, man, our great friend from New York wanted me to let you know this. I don't know if you guys are aware of this or not, because I'm not up on the hockey stuff, but that Barry Trotz, the coach for Toronto, he used to coach fucking Washington last year, the Capitals.
Oh, wow.
So how interesting. If they win, I think they could play they could play the Capitals, right? I think the Capitals play tomorrow, though. That series is tied 3-3 too.
Let me see that.
Yeah, double check me on this because I don't know my hockey that well.
The Bruins will play Columbus next, or the Bruins or the Maple Leafs. Whoever wins the series, will play Columbus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But isn't Washington though? I thought Washington was in the same division as Toronto. Are they not?
The Capitals are going to play the Capitals. If they advance, would play the Islanders. Whoever wins Capitals Hurricanes will play the Islanders.
Okay.
They have the brackets up here. I got it up on the screen.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I was confused on that, but are they in the same conference though?
When they set up the NHL playoff brackets, I was looking at the standings and I was saying to myself, this doesn't make any sense. I don't know how the NHL does this. None of the matchups made any sense to me. So NHL's weird.
Okay, I just thought maybe there was a riddle or some rhyme and reason maybe for Barry Trotz, who coaches Toronto now, maybe end up playing, the Capitals.
Well, it's possible. It's possible if the Capitals win their series and beat the Islanders and the Toronto advances past the Blue Jackets, that's who would meet, would be the Capitals and Toronto. It would have to be 2 rounds from now.
Okay.
So that's
possible then, but that's something to definitely, I think, look at because we know this is how they do this stupid shit.
Yeah, that's a good point. Great call.
All right, guys.
Appreciate it.
Later. Bye-bye.
Okay. So I forgot to look at one thing here in this game. All right, so San Jose in this series started off 1-1. Or Vegas started off 1-1 in San Jose. And so right now they're 2-2 in San Jose coming into this game. Is that right? No. Why am I having so much trouble counting? 1-1. They're okay. Vegas is 1-2 in San Jose. San Jose leads 2-1 at home. Okay. That's right. So 2-1 at home. And let's just see here. Okay, so San Jose is 48 wins and 28 losses. Oh, no. At home, they're 27-12. 27-12. Okay, that doesn't go with the date. In Vegas away is 20-22. So Vegas could get their 23rd loss away on the 23rd of the month as well. So I have to say, again, a lot lines up for the Sharks here. Sharks get that 113th playoff win on the 113th day of the year. We had the caller yesterday who said he saw something about a great white shark that's on social media with 11,300 subscribers that was in the news. This might be him. This is San Jose calling in. What's up?
Hey, just to correct what that last guy said. So Barry Trotz was the coach of the Capitals last year, and they won the Cup. And now he's the coach of the Islanders, and they could play in the second round.
So he went from the Capitals to the Islanders.
Yes.
Okay, and the Islanders are one of the teams with the 101 connection. Okay.
Interesting.
Islanders equals 101. Okay. All right. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
All right. Thanks. All right. Let's also look at the coaches tonight for these NHL games to see if we can get another big clue. But I think we got some decent riddles here in the playoffs. So Bruins coach. Is that going to bring up NHL? Boston Bruins, Bruce Cassidy. Coaching record. Okay, so in the playoffs, he's 12-18. He got his 19th loss. That's the 67th prime. His season could be done in 2019 at 19 losses. It's the Boston coach. He's 10-14 in the playoffs with Boston. So all time with Boston, he's 127-66. He could also get his 67th loss with Boston today, the 19th prime, and the 19th loss. Hockey 67, it's 2019. So there's some rhyme and reason to that. Maple Leafs coach Mike Babbitt. Oops, gotta put his name here. So Mike Babbitt in the playoffs all time. He's at 67 wins. Go figure. 56 losses. Okay. Doesn't go with the date. Oh, no. Hold on. I'm reading that wrong. That was his Detroit. His overall's not up at the top. Did I read the last guy right? Okay, hold on. I got to read that correctly. I'm reading it wrong. So for his career, he's at 90 playoff wins and 73 losses. And with Toronto, he's 8-11. He could get his 9th win in the playoffs with Toronto today on the 23rd. Again, 23, the 9th prime. All right, his birthday's coming up in April 29th. That'll be during the next playoff series. Born on the 119th day of the year. That's Monday. Probably around when round 2 of the playoff starts. Mike Babcock. '39, we got the 39 date numerology. Let me just make sure there wasn't some connection to those numbers with the Bruins. Boston. Bruins. Bruins. I don't see it. Mike Babcock. Babcock's 19. That other coach that we just looked at can get his 19th loss as well. Bruce Cassidy get his 19th loss today to Babcock. Let's see who his name is. Bruce Cassidy. Bruce Cassidy. Got 66 connection. Cassidy, 109, kind of like 19. 109, the 29th prime, Bruins 29. Cassidy's got that 26 thing. How was his birthday? May 20th. So his birthday's upcoming too. I always forget how many days are in April. Birthday's in 27 days or a span of 28. We're thinking the Stanley Cup is going to begin May 27th. So his birthday is a week before the Cup. And they're not putting out that information this year, so it's tough. Today's 338 days after his birthday. Go back and make sure I see some 339 somewhere. Again, we saw both games started the series 4-1. Series could be 41-41 in the playoffs if Toronto wins today. Okay. And Cassidy would get his 67th loss with Boston today if he did go down. and his 19th total playoff loss. Prime numbers is 2019, and again, hockey's 67. So. And for the other coach, what was his name? How do you spell it? Babcock. He was going for his 9th win with Toronto on the 23rd. And again, whoever wins this series, whoops, I lost something. You're going to play Columbus, correct? Make sure there's not something there with that. Blue Jackets is 109 as well. So it's the 29th prime. That Cassidy guy had the 109 connection. Well, this is definitely the tighter NHL call today. It's definitely the tighter game, but I got to go with the Maple Leafs. Just again, the assumption that they have the 101 thing. You got to have less confidence in the 101 thing today, not because it's been split, right? The Islanders advanced with the 101 connection. There were 3 teams that had it in the playoffs: the Islanders, the Maple Leafs, and the Nashville Predators. So one team advanced, one got eliminated. And the Maple Leafs and the Islanders are on the same side of the conference. So there's not going to be any team on the other side with the 101 connection. There's none of these teams connect to 101 over here that remain. We just saw that weird story with the Avalanche killing the people outside of Calgary right after the Avalanche beat Calgary. That's something to think about. That's a news story with sports. 8 seed. 8 seeds. But I do like the Sharks today. Again, 113th win on the 113th day. It would give the Golden Knights their 23rd road loss of the year on the 9th. Did I look at their coaches? Let me check the coaches. I think I forgot to do the coaches over here. The Lance. He's coached Columbus before. So I see he can get his 19th loss today for his career in the playoffs. Wonder how many coaches' season can end at 19 losses. 2019. Hockey, again, 67, the 19th prime. Or no, excuse me, I'm reading that backwards. He could get his 19th win today. Never mind. He could get his 19th win. For him to get to 19 losses, he would have to he'd have to go to a couple more series. It's his 33rd playoff game. 18 and 14. San Jose 61, the 18th prime. If he got cut off at 18. San Jose Sharks. Okay. And Sharks coach. April 3rd. So the Vegas Golden Knights coach just had his birthday on the 103rd day of the year, April 13th. So his birthday was 10 days ago. It's June 13th.
Welcome to a tape.
Well, that's the only thing I could say that goes against the Sharks right here is the coach. He's at 39 wins. Today has the 39 date numerology. His next loss is 32. Going for his 26th win or 22nd loss today, 47th game in the playoffs. So I'd say that's the only thing that could go against San Jose. Their coach staying at 39 playoff wins. But I don't like to lead with coaches, never have. The overall records are normally better. Notice we haven't been looking at coaches up to this point. I can tell you I've gone wrong a lot in the NFL when I ended up deciding on the coach's stat. So let me see. The other coach's birthday is June 13th, though. I'll just check that out. So it's 314 days after his birthday, the pie thing. To the upcoming birthday. But yeah, I still like the Sharks. Sharks got the better riddle. The record, the 113th win on the 113th day of the year. It's pretty tough to beat. So. Caller?
Hey, Zach, this is Vic from New York again.
What's up?
Just one quick point real quick about the Boston series. This is the third time it's going to a Game 7, and Boston won the other 2 times.
Right. Yeah, I'm aware of that. So.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you were.
I appreciate that. They say the third time's a charm. All right.
Yeah, I know. I feel like Vegas is just going to bank off everybody looking at the past and just riding Boston. That's why I feel like close to the game time, there's going to be a lot more money being put on Boston. So I'm going to watch that.
Okay. Yeah, keep your eye on that. All right. Appreciate it.
All right. Have a good day.
All right. Thanks. So, again, the thing for Toronto is they can even the series with Boston at 41-41. The first 2 games were 4-1, and they can get their 257th win in the playoffs today. That's the 55th prime number, and Boston, Massachusetts is 55. So can't overlook that. And Sharks 113th win, playoffs 113th day. So I guess I like one road team and one home team. All right. So, and Maple Leafs are an underdog, so you can always take them to cover. Maple Leafs to cover. They lose by a goal, you still win the bet. So take the Sharks if you take them on the money line. You don't want to get beat in a spread. But again, you got the date going with the Sharks. You got the location going with the Maple Leafs. So, and just to review NBA, I'm going to look. All right. So for NBA, if you don't want to be greedy, there's 2 solid picks, it seems like to me. The 76ers are the most solid. By beating the Nets today, I'll just put this up on the screen again so everyone can see in case you weren't here earlier. NBA teams, where's it at? Philadelphia 76ers, where are they? Series records. So against Brooklyn, notice they're 65-39 at home against Brooklyn. They can become 66-39 in today's date, 66-39. That's the numerology today. And it goes even beyond that, really, because, again, Philadelphia is named from Revelation, the 66th book of the Bible, which is based on the 39 books of the Old Testament. And, again, Brooklyn, New York's 223. Philadelphia's 223. That's a biblical number, too. Because there's a discrepancy in the websites for the 76ers all-time wins. We're not sure, but if M-Cube's correct, the 76ers' first win of these playoffs was their 223rd win all-time. I have a feeling that's right because that riddle just sounds right. But I noticed something else that's even creepy, too. I noticed something else that's so creepy about this. Do you see how it's the 190th day of the NBA? There's a letter written to the Church of Philadelphia about the synagogue of Satan. Synagogue of Satan is 190. If you put the in front of it, it's 223, like Philadelphia and Brooklyn, New York. And Brooklyn, New York's the most Jewish neighborhood outside of Israel. Oh my God. So anyway, the Nets, they look finished. They look done. That's the riddle that would shock me if the 76ers didn't win today. And it looks like more and more money is going on Philly because the line's growing. So again, I'd bet the money line if you're going to bet it. You don't want to get beat on the spread, but I will be shocked if Philadelphia does not win. And let me put back up the NBA playoff bracket here. Because I just want to make this point too, in case you didn't hear me. Oops, that's not the link. In case you didn't hear me say it earlier. Philadelphia winning will put them at 55 wins on the season. Whoever wins this series is going to play the winner of the Raptors Magic series. And I have no doubt the Raptors are going to win this series. The only question is, do they win it today or do they win it in game 6 or 7? But Raptors equals 55. Raptors 55. So they're going to be at 55 wins coming into that Raptors series with 32 losses probably. And the thing is, if the 76ers lost to the Raptors, they'd get to 36 losses. Assuming they win today and stay at 32 for the season, Toronto equals 36. Remember LeBron with his 36 points. Toronto. It's always a big number of Toronto. So 76ers look really good. And then the Spurs-Nuggets game. The next game, today's the 23rd, right? The next game's on a date with 23 numerology. And let me just get all this up here. So again, you can see this. Denver Nuggets. Series records. San Antonio Spurs. The next game will be in San Antonio on a date with 23 numerology, right? Notice they could stay at 23 wins in San Antonio. They could pick up their 23rd loss against San Antonio. And there was one other thing. What was it? What was the other thing? Let me think about it. There was one other thing here. There was another 23. Hold on. What am I missing? There's one other 23 that I'm overlooking right now. Team series records. How did I forget what that was? There was one other 23. It's escaped me. Did I forget? Oh, I know what it is. I have to look at the next game. Here's what it is. I'm sorry. It's because I forgot to look at the next game. So in the next game, the Nuggets, they're at 22 away losses right now. They can get their 23rd away loss of the season on that 23 date as well. So this date right here, 4 + 2 + 5 + 2 + 1 + 9 is 23. So they can get the 23rd away loss. They can get the 23rd loss against San Antonio in the playoffs, and they can stay at 23 away wins. So based on that, I got to assume that the riddle is better for the Nuggets to win today. And if the Nuggets won today, where'd they go? They would get their 9th win against San Antonio on the 23rd of the month. 23 is the 9th prime number. So get the 9th win today, get the 23rd loss in the next series, then you get the prime number thing again. That would make the series 3-3. Spurs has the gematria of 33. Nuggets has the gematria of 33. So I do like the Nuggets to win it today. We also saw that Greg Popovich today can get his 113th playoff loss. So that's another big one. The National Basketball Association 113, and there it is right there, 113th playoff loss today. So dig in the Nuggets riddle. Dig in the 76ers riddle. You got the San Jose Sharks getting their 113th playoff win today. Jules called in and had a really good observation about why the Raptors should close out the Magic today. It was a little mathematical. But man, I should see something in the win-loss record based on who they're playing next that I'm not seeing yet. All right, so they're going to play the 76ers, right? 76ers. You know, if you use the numbers in the name 76ers, it's 55, like how Raptors is 55, like how the last two games they were a 5.5-point favorite. The Raptors win today. They're at 62 wins. I guess that means they could advance. If they did beat Philadelphia, they could do it with 66 wins. Revelation, the 66th book of the Bible. The Raptors are at 25 losses right now. So how many games have they played? 82. This is going to be their 87th game tonight. Wait, is that right? Yeah, tonight will be the 87th game. Orlando Magic. If Orlando didn't win tonight, they would stay at 55. Or not 55. They'd stay at 58 playoff wins. Orlando Magic is 58. The Raptors came into the series with 58 wins. They'd pick up their... Oh, shoot. There's something I was overlooking. Okay. If the Magic lose tonight, they pick up... No. Excuse me. I'm misspeaking. I was about to say something wrong. Okay. If the Magic lose tonight, they pick up their 70th loss. That does not go with the date. Man. I'm sure I'm missing some of Toronto, Ontario. Ontario. The one thing is NBA TV is 59. If the Magic won, they would get their 59th playoff win on NBA TV. That would give the Raptors their 26th loss of the season. I got to look one more time at this. I feel like I'm missing something. 6-11, 23, 29-41, 29-48, 68. Date was 68, numerology. Basketball, 68. Orlando Magic's also 68. There, just in the back of my mind, I keep thinking that Game 7's on the 117th day of the year and Toronto's 117th. So... home. It would be the Raptors' 34th home win if they won tonight. Orlando is 34. They're at 10 home losses. It would be their 44th game. Can they play Philadelphia next? Yeah, there's no, to me, there's no slam dunk stat. Jules called in with a good decode for why the Raptors could close it out tonight. She could be absolutely right. But again, I just keep thinking about the because the Magic, they're just such a weird team. You just don't know who's going to show up. So there's a chance they could come and play, you know, balls out the next 2 games and get it to Game 7. Toronto playing on the 117th day of the year. That would set up for the narrative for how Philadelphia could get past the Raptors. They could rest up. Their team's kind of banged up right now. You know, they could use the rest. So I'm just thinking of a narrative like that. So yeah, I just gotta say, I think it's better not to be greedy tonight. I think the best riddles in the NBA are the 76ers and the Nuggets. And in the NHL, again, San Jose Sharks picking up that 113th win on the 113th day of the year. Golden Knights getting that 23rd away loss on the 9th, 23 the 9th prime. And Maple Leafs to cover against Boston is how I would go in this game. I do suspect Maple Leafs will advance. Just in case they don't, they lose by a goal, you could still win your bet that way. But what I like the most for the Maple Leafs is getting that 257th win, the 55th prime, Boston, Massachusetts 55. I know that number plays with that city in sports. So it's the 3rd time there's been a Game 7 in Boston. You know that old saying, 3rd time's a charm. 3rd time's a charm. So if the Maple Leafs get eliminated tonight, if that does happen, we have to really take a look at these Islanders. The Islanders will be the only team left with a 101 connection. So, and it was pointed out that they have the coach of the Capitals who won the championship last year. And who leaves their team after they win the championship to go coach another team? I mean, what is that about? So, the Maple Leafs eliminated tonight, something we really got to look at there. And I know some of you guys still want me to do the MLB. There's a lot of sports season left. Right now, I just want to put the energy into the playoffs. Just baseball's been too much of a ball breaker for over a week. Too much time spent. We've never spent so much time decoding anything, and we've never got kicked in the balls so many times, literally. So it's just not worth the energy right now. It's been a drain physically and on the wallet, the baseball, for over a week. So taking a break on baseball. Again, we got the Kentucky Derby coming up. We can put energy into that. See if we can nail some horse racing that has good odds. We have been able to do it in the past. We called both Triple Crowns before they happened. The first time was really easy. So the first time, the reason was this. There hadn't been a Triple Crown winner for 37 years, right? So it was easy to see. They made a point about how it had been 37 years, and the next Triple Crown winner was going to be the 12th. 37's the 12th prime. So American Pharoah became the 12th Triple Crown winner after a drought of 37 years. And then the next Triple Crown winner was in the 144th year that there was an opportunity for there to be a Triple Crown. And what I said is there probably won't be another Triple Crown until the 153rd year of the event. So that'll be 9 years after the last. So don't count on any Triple Crowns this year. I'll already tell you that much. But the last 2 Triple Crown riddles were totally by the numbers. Couldn't have been any more. And I wouldn't bank on one this year. But the Grand Slam for Tiger, I'm going to put out a video on that today, so look for that to be posted. My Tiger Woods Grand Slam breakdown. That'll be posted on the Patreon page. I'm just going to scan baseball real quick and just see if anything screams out at my eyes just to observe. Now, I know Pirates is 47. Some of these numbers get read backwards. Pirate is also 74. Okay? So, let's see. Can the Pirates become 7-4? Caller?
Yeah, if you can take a look at that Phillies and Mets. one team can go 13 and 10, kind of like 131, like championship. So
and when you write out 57, it's 131. That's the big Mets number. All right, I'll look at it for you. I'll look at that. Yeah, you got it. No problem. Thanks. All right, we're thinking the Mets, we're going to win 2 out of 3. They are 1-0 so far in the series. Weaver 74. So, I mean, my assumption would be that the first week of baseball was fine. I'd be like, okay, Pirates 7-4, that looks good, and it would probably hit. The last week, it's like, oh, that looks good, and then it doesn't hit. So, I'm not betting on any baseball today, that's for sure. White Sox, Orioles, that riddle was broken. Giants and Blue Jays. We said the Giants do like the number 49. The Bay Area likes the number 49 is what I meant. You know, 49ers, Warriors 49. Okay. Tigers equals 43. We saw that riddle hit earlier this year, the 43 with the Tigers. Can the Red Sox become 4-3 against the Tigers? Wait, this is a doubleheader today. This is a doubleheader. So if the Red Sox win the first game, something to think about. The Red Sox win the first game and become 4-3. Detroit's also 44, but Boston Red Sox is 53. So that's tough. But see if they go 4-3 first, just because we saw some Tigers 43 riddles hitting earlier this year. Because oftentimes patterns repeat. So it's like in the NBA this year. Every time the Memphis Grizzlies faced somebody and a 25 came up, we knew that 25 was going to hit. It hit like every single time. And there's certain patterns like that with teams where the number just hits. If not every time, almost every time. So we've seen Tigers in 43, but a lot of patterns have not been consistent. All right, Phillies and Mets. So we thought the Mets would win yesterday. I think it was like the only game that didn't surprise us. Zach Eflin. Eflin's got the 46-2. Yesterday, the starting pitcher's name was 46, so they're 4-6. Zach Eflin. Okay. So that doesn't tell us where the record's going to go. This is probably the diciest game of this series. I would say that if the Phillies win today, the Mets should win tomorrow. Because Mets in 57, it's just so historically important, that number to that team. I can't imagine them not doing it. Wheeler. I'm not seeing how his numbers go. 3. Okay. It's work. It's Philadelphia. $191's the 43rd prime. So that's a thought. 191's the 43rd prime. If they beat them today, they'd be 4-3. And I would say that would mean the Phillies should win the last game if that happened. So Zach Eflin is 17-20. Now we have 21 date numerology. So Eflin could get his 21st loss on the 21 date. And again, here's the date numerology, 21. So Eflin can get the 21st loss. And Zach Wheeler, 34-32. That doesn't have to go either way today. So you have a little reason for the Mets to become 4-3, and you have reason for Zach Eflin to get his 21st loss. And I'll also just look at tomorrow's stats. This is going to be the only baseball I do today. Like I said, I wasn't going to do any baseball, but I'll do one. The man who called in, he helps out every day. He's a good, loyal caller. I know he wants to do baseball, but man, I'm telling you, I'm burnt on the last week. I need some baseball recouping. Let's look at who tomorrow's pitchers are. Because if Mets win today, I got to assume the Phillies win tomorrow. At 5 and 7, it's just got to come through. The only way I could see it not is just because New York is also 48. But all right, Vince Velasquez going tomorrow. Vince Velasquez. So if the Mets do lose today, they'd be 4 and 7, and the Mets would be 4 and 3, and Velasquez has both those numbers. But again, you guys, I'm just saying, man, if you're getting excited about this, how many games did I look at like this yesterday that didn't come through? So I just gotta keep putting out the warnings there. Mets did win yesterday, and we expected. I mean, it was about the only one. But Jason Vargas. Okay. So I don't see his riddle, but Velasquez, his team would be 4 and 7 if they lost today, and the Mets would be 4 and 3. So those numbers were there. And I guess I can check out their win-loss records to see if they would go with the date numerology. Vince Velasquez. So no, that doesn't connect. And Jason Vargas. His next loss would be his 91st. Is there a connection with that in the Phillies? $90. He could remain at 90 losses against the, or 90 losses. He could remain at 90 losses. That also means he could get a no decision. Again, that's what's tricky about baseball. So many different pitchers could get the decision. But I'd have to say the Mets seemingly have the better riddle for today. So got the Mets pegged to win 2 out of 3 if they win today. I'd assume it's more likely they lose tomorrow. The only way I could see that riddle getting broken is just that New York does have the 48 connection, but that New York Mets 57 is the big one. So I guess I'd have to say I favor the Mets today. Today's pitchers. Was there anyone going for 9s today? So, okay, that's another thing to consider on the 23rd. Just 23, the 9th prime. Is there anyone going for 9s today? Indians could stay on 9 losses on the 23rd. Reds could get the 9th win. These 23 and 9 riddles got to come through at some point. The Pirates getting the 9th loss and Diamondbacks getting the 9th away win would conflict with the 7-4 thing we just looked at. So I'd actually be real careful with that game. If you're still betting baseball, these are things to keep in mind today. Orioles and White Sox could both be at 9 wins on the 23rd. The Red Sox got swept by the Tigers. They would stay at 9 wins through the day. Boston, Massachusetts, 55. I'd be real careful with the 9s today. So that could go either way for the Rays. Cardinals could stay at 9 losses and get their 9th home win today. Now, Twins, remember we talked about this possibility of the Twins winning both games because they'd get to 14 and 7. Houston Astros is 147. Minneapolis, Minnesota's 93. It's on the 93rd meridian. They would be 9 and 3 today on the road if they won. Astros could also stay at 9 losses, though. Angels could stay at 9. Rangers could stay at 9. Athletics could pick up. Is this correct? Wait a minute. Are they not updating their records again? Yeah. Okay. So never mind. Be careful with ESPN's records. They're not current again. They're not current once again. Because I was gonna say this isn't right. They should have been 7 and 9. So actually, you got to go back over these records. Let me make sure Mets and Phillies is right. Okay. Okay, this is correct though. I think the Twins record is correct. All right, yeah, so some of them are correct. The one that was definitely not correct is this one. I do got to say this about the Mariners. They began their season 12 and 2. Let me make sure it's right. Seattle's on the 122nd meridian. They began 12 and 2 against Kansas City. Kansas City won 2-2. I don't think San Diego's on the 122nd meridian. Cuts in more. Yeah, they're on the 117th. Hold on. Just for kicks, I got to look at the Mariners game because that 12 and 2 symbolic. San Diego. All right. So the Mariners really can become 12 and 2 away. Think about that. I guess they could also become 11 and 3 on the 113th day of the year, huh? But 12 and 2, Seattle on that 122nd meridian. And remember, they did start 12 and 2. We thought that was destined once it was showing up. Swanson 9. I see his name has the 68 connection, also 58. So they're sitting on the 5 and 8 record. They could get to 6 and 8 against him. Swanson 39, like the date. Nick Marjavicius. His name's 97, like Mariners. Marjavicius. 589. So he's a young guy, so he doesn't have much information. It's not a lot to go off. He's pitched well through 2 games. 8 innings pitched, though, not a lot of work. This dude. Another young guy. Battle of the young guys. This guy's throwing 20 innings, though. The Mariners would stay on 9 losses on the 23rd if they won. The Padres would pick up their 9th loss on the 23rd. The only problem was this guy's name equaled 68, and the Padres could become 6 and 8. But I I'm going to watch this game and just see what happens. Because if the Mariners do become 12-2, that could be a pattern that we look for throughout the season. However, it's not a number that can probably come up too many times. So, anyhow, I'm going to keep watching baseball and just making mental notes and see if things seem like they're getting more back on track. But just again, we've been putting in 5-hour days and getting really bad results for over a week now in baseball. Started off fine, but something's wrong at the moment. So, okay. Again, just real quick review, and then I'm gonna start uploading a short video each day reviewing the picks. So you'll look for a separate video, but just to go over the games that we're looking at today. NBA. I think in the NBA we have two really quality riddles. The 76ers can become 66-39 against the Nets at home on a date with 66-39 numerology. So I like that. The Nuggets, if they win today, Game 6 in San Antonio is on a date with 23 numerology. The Nuggets can get their 23rd playoff loss against the Spurs. Somebody's probably thinking, well, they could get it today too on the 23rd, but here's why it's better the next game on the 23-date numerology. It would keep the Spurs, if the Nuggets get the 23rd loss against the Spurs in the next game, which is right here, April 25th, they would get their 23rd away loss of the season as well. And they would stay at 23 wins in San Antonio. So a whole lot of 23 stacks for the next game. Because say they lost today, then they would, just the riddle's not as good. It's better if they lose the next one in San Antonio. So I like the 76ers and I like the Nuggets today. They both have good riddles. And again, if I'm betting those games, I'm betting the money line just because I don't want to get beat on the spread. And then in the NHL, just for the other two NBA games, that they're both really close. The Blazers seemingly do have a good riddle today, but 96% of the money is on Portland. I do think Portland's going to win the series, and I think they're going to win it in Portland because the Thunder's next loss is their 37th, and Portland equals 37. We'd have to evaluate more if it went to Game 6. I imagine if the Blazers win tonight, they win in a very close game and they don't cover the spread, just because so much money is on Portland to cover. But here in the NHL, that was one more thing I forgot to say about the NBA real quick before we move on. The other great stat in the NBA today for this Nuggets game is that Greg Popovich can get his 113th playoff loss all time on the 113th day of the year. So that's the other one that's just wow. The NHL, with regards to 113, the Sharks can get their 113th playoff win today on the 113th day of the year. The Golden Knights, they can get their 23rd away loss of the season their 23rd away loss of the season on the 23rd of the month. But that Sharks going for 113th playoff win on the 113th day of the year, got to follow the date numerology patterns. I live and die by them, and I definitely live a lot more than I die following the date numerology. The Maple Leafs and the Bruins, this game's tighter, but if the Maple Leafs win today, it'll be the third time they've ever played a Game 7 in Boston. Third time ever. And if they win today, they get their 257th playoff win. That's the 55th prime number. Boston, Massachusetts equals 55. So The Bruins had a little riddle as well. The Maple Leafs are still my favorite team to win the Stanley Cup, so that's obviously going to be out the window if they lose today. But with that in the back of my mind as well, I would take the Maple Leafs to cover. You know, if they lose by a goal, you still win your bet. But my 3 favorite playoff games, I like the Sharks getting that 113th win, and I like the 2 basketball games. The riddle is just too good. So in the Magic and Raptors game, it's just it's clear as mud, so can't be too confident there. I do have a feeling if the Magic win today, though, this is going to go to Game 7. Toronto's 117. Game 7 would be on the 117th day of the year. So if Raptors don't wrap it up, I'm thinking Game 7 is in the cards. We'll look at Game 6 if it happens. And if the Blazers win tonight, the winner of this series plays the winner of the Spurs. Am I on the wrong day? Plays the Spurs and the Nuggets. And if the Blazers win tonight, they'll have won the series 4-1. Remember, San Antonio's 41. So that could point to San Antonio prevailing in this series. So that's another thing we're going to have to watch. With regards to the Blazers and Nuggets, which is also another potential series, Blazers equals 43, Colorado 43. Both of these games could be going to Game 7, where it would be decided 4-3. But remember, the Blazers and Nuggets played each other twice at the very end of the year in back-to-back games. So, again, three playoff games that look good tonight. 76ers to win, Nuggets to win, Sharks to win. Up to you on these other games. The Blazers do have a better riddle here, but just seeing all that money, we looked at it 96% to 4%, and there was over $90,000 bet already. If you missed the earlier decode, I mean, there were some really interesting things. The game is Lillard's upcoming birthday is in 83 days. Blazers is 83. It's his 283rd day of his age, the 61st prime. Blazers is 61. Oklahoma City 61. So it seems like a great day to win over Oklahoma City in advance. Again, if they do, I think it's going to be in a razor-tight game, maybe a 1-point game, maybe a buzzer beater, maybe a Lillard buzzer beater. For Russell Westbrook, the game's 162 days after his birthday. If the Thunder win tonight as a franchise, they'll be 162 and 162 in the playoffs. But you could also say it would be his 163rd day of his age. If they lose tonight, they get their 163rd franchise loss. That's the 38th prime. Blazers is also 38. Oregon's 38. So, I mean, it is razor tight, this game. If you do bet the Blazers, I would definitely bet money line and not get beat on that spread, because the way it is, if the Blazers are going to win, it seems like Vegas can't let this spread be covered. So I wouldn't get greedy. I think we got 3 good reads tonight. Personally, I'd stay there, but if you got some information that you're not sharing with us, use your own brains. So had the guy call in yesterday and said, "Oh, I knew the Sharks were going to win all along because the article about 113 the Sharks." I was like, "Well, why are you calling after the game's over, man?" Could have used that knowledge. Okay, so we'll leave it there. I'm going to upload the review video real quick and be back tomorrow, same time, 9 a.m., noon Eastern. Also, look for my Tiger Woods video today, too. I'm going to put out the Tiger Woods video on the Grand Slam. So I got some work to do, but it'll all be up on the Patreon before the end of the day. All right, good luck, Truth Seeker.